High School Musical, the musical, the series. Once again being covered the second time on my channel for its third season. If you're fairly new on my channel, you probably came here because of the anime stuff or the comic book stuff, but this is a sort of guilty pleasure of mine, so I'm covering it. I kind of have a soft spot for these things, so just let me indulge myself a bit. But if you're not interested, feel free to close the video. I will get back to covering the usual stuff after this video, but until then, let's talk about the third season of High School Musical, the series. Okay, we are back again with a new season of High School Musical, the series. And I just wanted to say, spoiler warning here, obviously. I freaking called it. Remember my last video when I was talking about the ships? I freaking called it, man. I freaking called it. I knew they were endgame. Anyway, before I delve more into that, let's talk about what happened this season. I will eventually get to the ships. This season follows our theater kids of Salt Lake as they go on a camping trip, but it seems we could only have a handful of the original cast, with some new ones added to the fray. So, which characters are we following this season? We have the newest and sweetest couple, EJ and Gina, alongside Courtney, Ashlyn, and Carlos, who make their way to spend their summer at Camp Shallow Lake. This is probably the camp EJ met Nini during that incident in the first season. And speaking of Nini isn't going to camp. She's actually going to spend time with her parents at California. But that's okay, because with this, she has the opportunity to find a lot more about herself. I always like the Nini arcs without the relationships for some reason. I don't know, I just feel that finding herself and making a career for herself is more realistic and endearing for her. Not that I don't want her to have a relationship, I really do, but it just seems she has a lot more to offer than being someone's girlfriend. But I'm sure it gets pretty lonely sometimes. But then again, Olivia Rodrigo's career took off before most of them, so she's now a recurring character. I don't think they can tell a whole lot of story about her moving forward, so it's better this way. But as long as she's happy, then we're happy for her. And before I proceed, I was wondering that since they are at camp, they would probably cover camp rock songs since Disney owns the right to the songs, but instead they decided to cover Frozen. Which is fine, I guess. They still sang a few camp rock songs, obviously, but not as much as I would have liked. And not to forget, I thought it would have been cool if they ever got to cover something like Grease. But then again, Grease is owned by Paramount, I think, so it might be a hassle getting around the licensing of the music. Nevertheless, it would have been interesting to see a kid-friendly show like Disney reenact something as raunchy as Grease. They can still do it though for the fourth season. Okay, back to it. Some of the other new characters introduced to us were Maddox, also known as Gadget, Val, and Jet. Or at least they were the ones that seemed important or memorable to me. I didn't particularly have a good first impression about Jet. He was kind of weird at the start, but he came around and I honestly dig his character now. I can't say the same about his sister Maddox though. She still has some weird vibes to her. And it's a bummer because I honestly thought she was the one I would like moving forward. She has a beautiful voice, but then again, that position got filled by Val. Val was great though. She was played by McDonnelly from the Zombie series. We also did have other celebrity guest stars like Combie Blue as himself, Jason Earls, Jojo Siwa, and Jesse Tyler Ferguson from the Modern Family. So yeah, this season was packed with celebs. No wonder the other half of the Wildcats didn't show up. This season was really emotional, or maybe it's just me, but there were a lot of feelings going around. And if you have watched from the first season, most of the stuff that happened would hit harder this season, especially if you have been paying attention from the beginning. So without further ado, let's talk about relationships. EJ and Gina. In the previous season and my previous video, I spoke about EJ and Gina's relationship and I felt that they were good for each other. Personally, not my first pick, but he was there for her, you know. He was there for her and her for him. They just went together and I was okay with it. So I was really hoping to see a lot more of them this season. And of course, the drama had to happen. The drama, also known as Ricky Bowen.
Have room for one more?
Look, you all know that I ship Ricky with Gina, but I kinda didn't this season. I felt we needed more time with EJ and Gina. I felt we needed to fill out their relationship a bit, spend more time with them, and maybe in the next season, they break up. Maybe. It felt short for me because I waited to binge the show, but their relationship did feel short. I wish they had more time. I wish EJ had more time. So what happened was, Corbin Blue did a fake out and dropped all of the responsibility on EJ to direct the show. This way, he had less time to spend with Gina, which was kinda sad because Camp is like EJ's thing, and even though he got time to shine, he was always neck deep in work and stressing out about the show. This was his time to show his girlfriend what camp was all about, but he blew it. But I also kind of get where he was coming from because it's not really his fault. He wanted to take a gap year, but his dad was not up for it because the cast was high achieving people. I don't know. So he decided that he could use this opportunity to show his dad that he can make something of his life without him being subjected to some casual boarding school. This was his opportunity to prove his dad wrong in order to be with his girlfriend. See, his intentions were pure, but he just got caught up with all the work, and he forgot the most important reason for being at camp. It was to have fun, spend his last days with his friends, and make memories with the people who love him. And when he finally realized that, it was too late for him. I was really sad for EJ because he was just trying his best, and because of that, it kind of soured Ricky and Gina's ship for me in a way. I knew they would eventually end up together, but not this way, not now. Ricky this season was, let me be honest, kind of fun.
Jet and Maddox are siblings?
First, he was annoying obviously because we knew the reason he was there for the sole purpose of instigating shit.
Group hug?
But this season he was really good. After his breakup with Lily, thank God, he made his way to camp. I honestly thought he might cool it with the relationships this season, but honestly it seemed he really matured as the time passed behind the scenes. Ricky and Gina had this effortless friendship, so I knew they would get close again. Nevertheless, I didn't want him to confuse her though. But what can we say? Old habits die hard, I guess. But he was there to have fun and make friends, and honestly, he did. He did put himself out there. He became friends with the insufferable Jet, and he got him to open up once again. He helped Carlos overcome one of his fears, and was basically being a sweetheart the entire season. Heck, even put his feelings aside and helped Gina with EJ. This was probably heart-wrenching for him, and I honestly respect him for that. He was the bigger man this season and showed a lot of growth, so I guess he getting a win at the end was well deserved, but they could have waited for the next season. Rather, I would like the part about Nini's presence to linger on for him quite a bit, but that's just my opinion. I miss Nini though, weirdly enough. And even though this is just a minor thing, I kinda wish she was the one who turned her phone lights on for Courtney when that dude Channing turned off the lights. It would have been like a slight parallel to season 1, because that's what the season was kinda about, right? Parallels. EJ has a girlfriend, she has history with Ricky, EJ messes up and she ends up with Ricky. If I was EJ, I would hate Ricky so much, bro. This is the second time he has done this to him, bro. Damn. But hopefully this is the last time. EJ needs to catch a break, and if he returns as a college student next season, he seriously needs to catch a break. And if nobody's going to say it, I will. I'm proud of EJ. He gave it his all. He always gives it his all, as a matter of fact. No matter his shortcomings, he really does try his best, and that's saying something. So, about my girl Gina. I honestly don't have a lot to say about her this season. I'm happy she finally got the lead and found balance, but I just wished she and EJ had more time. But when Ricky came to camp, all hopes about that were dashed, I guess. EJ was supposed to be the one who shows up, but
I'm the guy who shows up, remember?
this season, he wasn't. He just wasn't there for her. And it's a shame because I grew to love them as a couple, but I guess they were at two different times in their lives. EJ was the right guy, but at the wrong time. The show, as usual, does not forget to shed light on their other characters. Courtney really went through some interesting character development. Well, so far in the show, she always took the less obvious roles like being on the makeup team or being in the ensemble. But to her surprise, she actually got the lead. And I don't know why she doesn't usually go for it because she does have a powerful voice. But now we finally know why. She has anxiety, so she usually holds herself back because if she sticks to the shadows, no one can see her mess up. And since she's not quite used to having the spotlight on her, drastically changing that can be quite unnerving. But thanks to her friends and some wise words, she found her voice, or at least a way to live with it. Coming up from being the lead in The Beauty and the Beast, Ashlyn was going through an identity crisis of some kind, who she is without Big Red, and dealing with being cast in the ensemble. She did find herself in more ways than one, which was pretty funny because Big Red came at the end, and he thought everything was cool and all. Lastly, I want to talk about the ending. It is mostly about the EJ, Gina, and Ricky love triangle. I know I have said everything I wanted to say about these three, so let me end it with this. After their camp trailer played, I wanted a moment between EJ and Gina. Something genuine. Something like EJ admitting he's not ready to let go. Then he talks to her about not being there for her when it mattered. I still feel EJ and Gina's relationship was pretty innocent. Like, it had a cute appeal to it in a way. And if it ended, there shouldn't be any love lost, just bad timing, that's all. Like, they had to break up because things were out of their control, that sort of thing. So if they do meet in the future, and if they're at similar places in their lives, they could give it a shot again, if that's what they wanted. This time, knowing each other better. And after he leaves, the conversation between Ricky and Gina will actually be quite the opposite from what happened. He would confess his feelings to her by telling her what he told Carlos and repeats Gina's line word for word about walking away with his head held high. Because this season, like I said, was kind of parallel to the previous story of the seasons that came before. So ending it with a parallel would have been so sweet. Because I felt it was time for Ricky to confess his feelings to Gina, since she confessed to him first.
Wait.
But before I forget, let's talk about the music. My personal music recommendations this season are You Never Know by Olivia Rodrigo or The Cast of High School Musical. That's my personal favorite this season. The Ballad of Susan Fine by Matt Cornett and The Cast of High School Musical. Shallow Lake by Sailor Bell and The Cast of High School Musical. The Right Place by Adrian Laus. And Smoke Slow by Joshua Bassett. I know, it's not part of the show, but at the time Joshua Bassett released it, it felt right to add it here. It kind of fits the love triangle vibe between him, Gina, and EJ. I like other songs, but I didn't add them because they were just singing their versions of Frozen and Camp Rock. But be sure to check those out too. And with that said, thank you guys for making it to the end of the video. Since you are here, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to be notified whenever I post my next video. Don't forget to keep moving forward.
Don't get me started.